Well, the budget battle is raging on Capitol Hill these days, putting President Obama's Affordable Health Care Act in the crosshairs. A new Fox News poll asking, just how concerned are you about your health care under Obamacare? Look at that. 43% of Americans are very concerned, 25% somewhat. I think I passed math, and that's 68%. So 14% not very, 17% not at all. Maybe I didn't pass math. So with the GOP-controlled House voting to defund Obamacare, I mean, seriously, is that really going to happen? What are the implications? Let's bring in our political insiders. John LeBoutillier, former Republican congressman for New York. Pat Caddell, Fox News contributor, former pollster for President Jimmy Carter. Doug Schoen, also a Fox News contributor, former pollster for Bill Clinton. Let me just throw up one more poll, if I may, on the screen. Here it is. Which would be better on Obamacare? Go back to the 2009 system. 54% say, yeah, let me have the old system. I'll leave the new law in place, 35%.
Gregg, what we're seeing is a profound sense that the American people are nervous, increasingly upset about the cost, the access to health care, and the whole administration of a system of Obamacare that is really proving to be, at best, unwieldy and uncertain. The real question, and we'll get to it today, is how do you deal with it? Do you defund the government, or do you try to take steps to delay implementation of the individual mandate? How do we deal with that in the context of the budget?
You know, Pat, when you look at polls, and look, you're a pollster, defund is not popular, delay is.
Yes, well, this is the same people. You know, the Republican failure to understand or accept why they lost in 2012 means they keep repeating the same mistake, which is wishing. I call wishing politics. We'll only wish our way to this. What they have done is we now face, they have decided to have Russian roulette with 5 chambers full with bullets, not one. If they get out of this without blowing themselves up in the government, we will be lucky, because this is all about a leadership that is craven and doesn't know and weak, and the push in the minorities. What they should have done, of course, was delay it from the beginning, go after the IRS. That would have killed Obamacare. The forced Democrats to vote for it.
Yeah, but
they don't
Pat,
do anything
that would have
political.
made sense. That would have been
that
logical.
Would have been logical.
All right. Let me put, John, before I go to you, another poll on the screen. President Obama's handling of health care. I mean, look, Americans just think he's done an abysmal job of this whole thing. But then you've got John Boehner. Let's roll the Boehner sot here. Take a listen to this.
Listen, we've got a lot of divergent opinions in the caucus, and the key to any leadership job is to listen. You know, I was here during the Gingrich era. He had a little plaque that was in his office, and it was a management model. Listen, learn, help, and lead. We listened to our colleagues over the course of the last week. We have a plan that they're happy with. We're going forward.
Boehner had a lot more hair back then. We've seen the pictures. John?
Well, first of all, at the end of that SOT, when he said, we have a plan they are happy with,
right.
That's his way of saying, I don't want to do this plan. I know enough to know that this is a suicide mission. And the suicide mission we're talking about, just to make it plain for our viewers, is what's going to happen now is the Republican Party is going to try to shut down the federal government a week from tomorrow.
Which, in your judgment, is stupid.
I think it's a disaster, and I'll tell you why. The first victim of this thing is our soldiers all over the world, both here in Afghanistan and everywhere else. They are not going to get paid. Now, can you imagine you ask a young man or now a young woman to go into combat, risk their life with their family here at home, and nobody's getting paid? They're getting an IOU.
Who will be blamed for this, John?
Well, the Republicans are going to be blamed.
But history indicates Republicans always get the blame for this stuff.
They always do anyway.
Let me just say one thing. I want to, for the right-wing people watching who want to shut it down, flip the thing around and imagine how PO'd you would be if the Democrats shut the government down and didn't pay the soldiers. What would we on the right say about it? we would be going crazy. You ask these young people to risk their lives, and you're not paying them.
And you're going to lose anyway. And you've already announced you're going to lose. Ted Cruz.
Cruz said it on Wednesday. He said we don't have the vote. So why is he doing it?
So why pursue a strategy?
Because he's
that is
appeasing his
ineffective?
Constituents.
Well, this thing
and running for
back
president.
to 2012.
Running for president.
Let me just say that back to 2012. Let's imagine a world in which we win by being stupid, and this is what they're doing.
Right. You guys wanted to put a quote from Napoleon
I did.
Bonaparte.
This is my quote.
Was this your quote?
Yes, it is.
All right, put it up on the screen. Napoleon Bonaparte. Here we are. Never interfere with an enemy while he's in the process of destroying
That's
himself.
the Obama strategy, Doug, right?
That is absolutely right. And Pat is right to isolate that quote because the Obama administration has only one strategy: demonize the Republican Party. It came to its head, arguably its nadir, Monday, after the tragedy at the Navy Yard, when the president went forward with his speech saying the Republicans were going to cause chaos. And Jay Carney didn't back off.
If there was a grown-up in the House, they would have told him, don't do this, Mr. President.
No.
Delay it for a day or two.
What
right?
Doug says, like the president's policy, they are praying. They have shrines and they have candles lit for the Republicans blowing themselves up to give them a chance to win. And by the way, tomorrow, the president, this next Monday, will come to the UN and at the place where a year ago he invented his Benghazi story to the world. It's unbelievable.
You had your Napoleon Bonaparte quote.
But that quote
So I want to put up Napoleon Bonaparte versus Napoleon Dynamite.
There you go.
So which is more apropos for the GOP, or maybe Kid Dynamite? Jimmy Walker.
You know, if you go back to that original quote, the Napoleon Bonaparte quote, that was working lately for the Republicans. Obama has been self-destructing.
Slowly.
He screws up Syria big time. He screws up this giving a partisan speech right during the Naval Yard shooting. He can't get Larry Summers through the Democratic Senate. Can't get Democrats to vote for him.
Can't get it on a committee.
Yeah, he can't get it through the banking committee. He is in trouble. He's a weakened president. And once again, we Republicans are going to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory like we did a year ago. We had
Who's
the
better,
Senate.
Kid Dynamite or John Boehner?
Well, I'll take Kid Dynamite.
Kid
Speaker
Dynamite.
Dynamite.
Absolutely.
Kid Dynamite.
Speaker Dynamite.
All three go with Kid Dynamite over John Boehner. All right. This is a Rasmussen poll, and it asks people, you know, whether you really want to shut down the government over defunding Obamacare. 51% support it, 40% oppose. But, you know, I read this poll, and it was very tricky the way it was worded, and I'm not sure it says what it says.
All right. On the right, they are living in an echo chamber. They take this poll, which says 51% want to shut the government down.
Yeah,
and
they
they
really
take
say
it,
that.
No, but the conservatives, the talk radio hosts, they're all talking to each other. They don't talk to anybody else. They don't listen to anybody else. And they've convinced themselves this is the way to go. Shut it down, and we're going to win. And then when I fight them on the shows and say, wait a second, the government shut down. We did it in '96. Political disaster.
Right.
It'll be a disaster this time. They say, you know, it wasn't that bad.
Oh, it
back
was
then.
bad.
They say it was
Greg, I
because
was
Bill
there.
Clinton-
I was in the White House. Bill Clinton was headed
He
to
was
defeat
wounded.
until that shutdown resurrected him, allowed him to win
And it
re-election.
ended the Gingrich revolution.
Exactly right.
Let me also say there are some times when poll questions are really bad and are damaging. This is one of the handful that is being misused and misread. I will tell you that number is not right. It was a bad.
I looked at 3 other polls yesterday, and they said the opposite. As high as 78% said we don't want to shut down the government
Greg,
because of defunding.
Let me tell you something. What John described and what Doug described, this is a delusion. I'm living in a delusional world. Any evidence I can that feeds my self-delusion, we do. And you take yourselves over the cliff. As I said, Russian roulette with bullets in 5
So don't believe
chambers,
that
not
poll.
one. It's not right, no. I'll tell you right now.
Absolutely. And here's the other thing. The confluence of events, the sequester, the government shutdown, the debt ceiling, and the overall budget combined with uncertainty in the economy, if we have the kind of chaos we had in 2011, who knows what the impact could be.
All right, John, this is political mummery is what's going on here. It's a charade because Boehner is going to get the kicked back bill, which eliminates defunding, and then he's going to take it to the 15th of October, and then he's going to try to delay attached to the limit, right? The debt ceiling limit. Is that the I mean,
Well,
the people on Capitol Hill tell us that's what's happening.
Well, but between the 1st and the 15th, we're going to have the government shut down. Is that what we're going to do? And the president has said...
It's really not going to happen, is it?
I think it is going to happen.
I
really
think,
do?
I think
I
this
think
seems to
there's-
become very dangerously out of control because the White House really wants
Right,
to
and
shut
here's
The White House wants a shutdown. Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, Mike Lee want a shutdown. The Tea Party in the House
don't
want
wanna
a shutdown.
win.
They don't want to win. They want to make a point.
Have Cruz
If you
and
would-
Lee and Rand Paul basically taken the Republican Party renegade?
Yes, they've gone
it's all
rogue.
right to be right. The leadership is so bad, that'd be one thing, but they're not being strategic. They need to force the Democrats to vote it on something that hurt the Democrats. They have given them the greatest cover of all.
And
which
what it
is,
should have
which is,
been,
is
it
we're
should
not
have
going to
been,
fund the government.
As we have said, they should have taken what Obama did when he delayed the business mandate. The right should have united and said, okay, Mr. President and Democrats, we want to delay the individual mandate for 1 year. And you could get Democrats running for re-election next year to vote for that.
Absolutely.
Terrified.
So
If
when
they
Ted
had done
Cruz
that for
appears
6
on
weeks-
Fox News and he says, oh, we're going to win this thing, he's smoking something.
He is. Go
Greg,
ahead.
he's running for president. He builds a constituency nationally on the hard right. It's great for Iowa, South Carolina politics. It's rotten for America.
He's a rock star in Iowa.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the problem is, the first strategy is if you had taken the right strategy, and by the way, Cruz, who wants to get rid of the IRS, could have gone after the IRS too. If they had done that over 6 weeks, not as a backup
Right.
for 2 days,
You know who
it
some
will be
other rock
weak.
stars?
Let me finish my
I'm sorry,
point.
I'm sorry.
It will be weak, it will fail, and they will end up with nothing.
Go ahead, John.
Sorry, Pat. Other rock stars of recent vintage: Herman Cain,
Yeah.
Rick Perry,
For a nanosecond.
Sarah Palin.
Flash
I
in
mean,
the
they
pan.
come and they go. If
Flash
you're
in
going to
the
be a
pan.
senator and you want to make it, you got to do stuff that works.
I'm
And-
getting a hard rap. Our political insiders, you guys are great. Check them out. You can get more from Political Insiders every Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, live.foxnews.com. They're going to be back here, of course, next Sunday. Pat Caddell, John LeBoutillier, Doug Schoen. You can also follow them on Twitter at FN Insiders. Guys.